fellow followers of this podcast. Welcome to a special English spoken episode of your favorite podcast, La Guarida del Nerdorriqueño. In today's episode, we will cover a subject that has become very popular in recent years. We are talking about the Boricuaverse. The Boricuaverse is a vibrant cosplay movement that celebrates Puerto Rican culture through creative, culturally infused character portrayals. This trend, known as the Boricuaverse, is a growing community of Puerto Rican cosplayers who blend traditional fandoms like anime, comics, and video games with Puerto Rican pride, heritage, and humor. It's not just about dressing up, it's about representing identity through cosplay in a way that's joyful, inclusive, and unmistakably Boricua. Now, what defines the Boricuaverse? The Boricuaverse is defined by a combination of the Boricuaverse is defined by a combination of cosplay trends, social dynamics, creativity, and the internet. By cultural fusion cosplay, characters are reimagined with Puerto Rican flair. For example, Mandalorian inspired personas like Boricualorian, Medallalorian, and Kenepalorian incorporate local references like Medalla Beer and Kenepas to Star Wars lore, community pride. The movement often appears at parades, conventions, and cultural events like the Puerto Rican Day Parade and the Sekai Con. In these events, cosplayers march, dance, and interact with families. In terms of creative reinterpretation, cosplayers invent original Puerto Rican versions of popular characters like Spider Man, Barbie Boricua, or Machete Man, inspired by Chainsaw Man. As far as social media presence, the Boricuaverse thrives on platforms like TikTok and Instagram, where creators share videos of their costume, performances, and community events. The account arroba the Boricuaverse showcases these moments with high engagement. Why does the Boricuaverse matters? The Boricuaverse gives Puerto Rican cosplay enthusiasts the opportunity of representation in their culture. It gives them a space to express their fandom while honoring their Puerto Rican roots. The Boricuaverse gives all the Boricuaverse also gives them empowerment through art. Cosplayers use their creativity to challenge stereotypes and celebrate their heritage. The Boricuaverse is a useful tool for community building. Events like the Boricuaverse Meetup at New York Comic Con 2025 brought together fans for dancing, singing, and cultural celebration. In short, the Boricuaverse is more than cosplay. It's a cultural movement that turns fandom into a celebration of Puerto Rican identity. Whether you are in San Juan, Puerto Rico, Orlando, Florida, New York, you may catch a glimpse of these heroes at a local con or parade. Want to join the fun? Just bring your costume and your Boricua pride. And now, let us proceed to our interview with Lily, the Boricualorian. Stay tuned. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. In this section of this episode, we are going to have an interview with the Boricualorian,
Hey!
uh, a world famous cosplayer who have left her mark on places like the New York Comic Con, Puerto Rico Comic Con, and MegaCon.
Yeah.
Hello, Lily.
Hi, how are you?
Uh,
Thank you for having me.
thank you for having me too. Well, Lily, could you tell us when did you discover cosplay?
I don't think it was really a discovery. It was more like I loved it since I was little. When I was a little girl, I think Halloween was my favorite holiday. And each year, in my house, my mom had a bag of costumes. So even if it's not Halloween, I would put on a costume and I'd play around the house. So that was like my way of enjoying wearing costumes. And so it wasn't until like high school that I discovered a convention that was close to me. And I said, oh, let me go in costume and see how it goes. And that was high school. And I had a lot of fun, but I didn't really take it seriously then. And then it wasn't until like 2019 I went to a Final Fantasy convention. And from there, I wanted to be a Final Fantasy character. So I was Aerith from Final Fantasy VII. And from there, that's when my cosplay journey started.
On which city was that convention, Final Fantasy convention?
So that was in New Jersey. And I don't think they've been in New Jersey since then. They're mostly in Canada, but it's more of like a fan-based convention. It's not like corporate or like a big convention like New York Comic Con. It was much smaller.
Okay. Next question. What motivates you to pursue this hobby? In other words, why do you do it?
I think it makes me very, very happy. And I feel like I find a lot of people in this community that are like me, that are Puerto Rican, that love video games, that love superheroes, and that love dressing up and having fun. So I think, it brings me a lot of happiness. So that's why I love to do it. Um, in like 2016, 2017, I went to a Boston video game convention called PAX East. I was not cosplaying then, but it was like I was starting to go to conventions and I really like the atmosphere and like how everyone just has fun and you can like discover a lot of things. So I really like the community.
Are you a fan of any area of entertainment? Comics, anime, video games?
I would say a little bit of everything, but it mainly started with video games. Um, I started with the PlayStation 1 when I was little, and then from there I had PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, 4, 5, Xbox 360, Nintendo. So um, it started with video games, but I'm a big fan of Pokemon. I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy, um, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, just Call of Duty, like just a lot of different things.
Mm, do you remember which character inspired your first? Sorry. Do you remember which character inspired your first cosplay?
So, well, what I said before with Final Fantasy VII, that was probably my very first one with the Final Fantasy convention. But after that, I would say Pokemon because I was also Squirtle. So I love the water types. So I wanted to be my favorite water type. And let's see. Yeah, a lot of video.
Okay.
And from there, after, going to conventions with video games, then I noticed people also cosplay from movies, especially Star Wars. And I love Star Wars. So I noticed that they were making Star Wars cosplay. So I wanted to be one of them.
I'm gonna put the pause now. Do you make your own costumes? If you do you do them alone or with help?
So it's, I would say it depends. I don't really sew, but I know how to put things together, so I ask help from people. Well, for example, for this cosplay, the 3D printing was made by one friend, and the skirt was made by my aunt because she's a seamstress. And then other pieces I got from Amazon and different places. So it depends the costume. Some costume, I think I did one from Animal Crossing, and that one my aunt made the whole thing, but I had the idea for it, so I worked with her. And for Squirtle, for example, um, the different parts of the costume I got online, and I did some basic drawing, and my aunt helped me make the shell. So I have a certain level of craftsmanship, but I think I have more of an imagination. So thankfully, there are some people that are really good at crafting that I can reach out to and commission different pieces. Grogu, for example, I wanted to make him Hibaro, and my aunt was able to make this outfit for him. And I had a friend that gave me the baba in Puerto Rico because I couldn't find one the right size. It's hard to find baba in New York, so I had to get it shipped from Puerto Rico. But I had the idea, and I have people to help me bring it to life.
What do you consider having been your most difficult cosplay?
I would say the most difficult. Now, when you say difficult, what do you mean by difficult
Difficult to make.
to make? Um, Probably I have the Mughalian, which is my Mughal Mandalorian mix. I would say that's probably the most difficult because um I had to take the armor pieces and I had to attach it to the bodysuit. So it involved a lot of pins and a lot of like um a lot of it's just a lot of work putting it together so that it looks nice. Um so some cosplays, I feel like there's not one that's most difficult, but each cosplay has its own different pros and cons. For example, this one, I'm comfortable in it. I'm used to wearing this a lot, but if I'm dancing a lot, sometimes this flies off or the helmet, something happens. So um it depends the costume. Like with a Squirtle, sometimes the body paint doesn't come out right. I have to do the proper steps. Um, but I wouldn't say there's one that is extremely difficult. I try to be, I guess, efficient with how I put it on.
Okay. How did you feel the first time you wore your first cosplay? Do you remember that first time?
You know, I would say the first time would be when I did a different costume for the Puerto Rican parade. I put an all red suit. I had a pava. I had my dad had a Puerto Rican button down shirt, and I wore that on top of it. And what I did was I have family in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and there was a parade happening in Connecticut. So I said, "Oh, let me go do the parade with my family." And I just had so much fun. I felt like I can just be who I want to be crazy, and just dance and just live life. And I feel like that feeling is what I love, and I try to carry with me in my other cosplays, especially this one.
sorry. Uh, do you feel that you express part of your personality in your cosplays?
Yes. And I do that because I like to make the costumes like mine with my personal touch, and you still know what the character is. I mean, with Boricualorian, this is not a real Star Wars character, right? This is one that I created. And when I made the Boricualorian, I said, I want a costume that represents me, and uh, a costume that I can put myself in. So, one, I'm Puerto Rican. Two, I love to dance and I love my culture. So, that's just one example of me putting my personality in my cosplay. Also, with Squirtle, I love water types, and Squirtle is like the Pokemon that just goes around and like has fun and has bubbles and water guns. So just having that fun aspect, especially with the bubble gun, that's something that I like to put in my cosplay to make it mine.
Okay.
Well, also,
My,
well,
mm,
also to add to that, you know, not all of my cosplays are like movie type cosplays. Like this, for example, is something that I created. The one with Moogle is something that I thought in my head to create. So I like to be original, and I also like to be characters that I like to play online, like for games and stuff. So I guess you can say part of the personality is like the way that I create my own cosplay.
my next question was going to be when was your first public appearance, but I believe you already answered that. So I'm gonna go to the next
Well,
question.
public appearance how? Like for which?
Well, okay, okay, let's say public. Let's say, do you remember when did you took out for the first time your Boricualorian cosplay?
Yes.
What was it?
So that was
When?
in 2023. I so when me and my friend were making this costume, we I was so excited and I said, "We have to wear this to the festival. We have to bring it to the festival. If we're representing Puerto Rico, we got to go to the Puerto Rico festival, right?" I love going to the festivals and parades, so I feel like wearing a costume would be a fun way to enjoy the festival. And so
Yeah.
this is the 116 festival in Spanish Harlem in 2023. So I get
Oh,
there.
that 2023, I believe that was that's probably the no.
That was the
We
year.
met we I met you in person the next year, I believe in 2024. I believe.
Yes, because that was my first Puerto Rico Comic Con.
Yes. Okay.
Because after
And
doing this, I discovered that Puerto Rico had a Comic Con. I had no idea. So I said, I have to go. Are you kidding me?
cool. Okay, so it's good to know.
So when I went in 2023, um, I went to meet my friend there. I didn't have all of my armor pieces, right? I only had just the main suit that I was wearing and my skirt. And I wasn't even fully dressed, and people wanted to take pictures. And I'm like, wait, I don't.
Yeah.
I said, I don't have my helmet yet. Wait a second, wait. And so, and so my friend finally, I finally met with my friend, and I got dressed, and we had the helmets and everything. And from there, that was it. We did not move from one spot for like 1 or 2 hours. Everyone was taking pictures with us. It was
Yeah.
crazy. It was like
Yeah.
I'd never experienced something like that before. And I was so grateful and like appreciate that everyone wanted to take a picture because it was something new, something that no one really see. No one sees
Yeah,
Star Wars in a Puerto Rico festival, and I feel like that's part of what
yeah,
I wanted to do is, bring some of like the nerds that we from our community. We're Puerto Rican too. I wanted to bring that to the festival, and from there,
yeah,
that was it. I went to the parade
yeah.
the
You
next day, and I also went to a Brooklyn Comic Con that day, and I just found so many Puerto Ricans that are like me, and it was just amazing. And that was like, I will never forget that week.
Floris, could you talk to us about your experience in this year's New York Comic Con 2025?
So it was amazing. I we had the second Boricuaverse meetup at New York Comic Con on the Saturday, and on that Saturday, you can see so many Puerto Ricans were there. They had like the people that attended the convention before the meetup, just walking around. You can see a lot of people were wearing like Puerto Rican shirts, or they carried the flag, and it was very easy to identify the Puerto Ricans that went to New York Comic Con, and it was amazing getting to meet them and getting to see them. But when we got to the meetup, it was like it was a big party. Just on the way to the meetup spot, a lot of us got together, and it was like we made a parade. We made the Puerto Rican parade all over again down the Javits Center to the meetup spot. Um, and the energy was so high, so beautiful. Everyone was so happy, and we had so much pride. And it was something that you never see at a New York Comic Con. And it goes to show how many Puerto Ricans go to New York Comic Con and love the things that we love, like superheroes and the different movies. Um, and we did Puerto Rican traditions. We did the bomba, from plena la bomba. Ay, qué rica
Oh
es.
yeah, yeah. I know that
So
one.
we did
I
that,
know that one.
did that together, and we were all singing, and a couple of us had some good bombas. So I passed around the microphone. We did the bomba, and it was great. And from there, then we brought some salsa. We were all playing instruments, we were all dancing, and it was a wonderful time. It was like the best hour of my whole weekend. Um, and it didn't end there. After the meetup, we went all the way to the front of the convention, and we stayed there with the music. We played Bad Bunny, and we played more instruments. We brought the parranda to New York Comic Con, and we also did the parranda going to La Boriqueña's booth that was in the convention. So we got together, we had the instruments, and we did the parranda. We went in the uh, in the vendor area, and we went all the way down, and we got to his booth. So we did like what we do in tradition when we go to someone's house with parranda. We
Yeah,
did
you did what the Americans call a conga line, so to speak, right?
not a conga line, no, because we went as like a group. I think the conga line is like a straight line, but we did like,
Oh, right, right, right.
yeah, but we did like the parranda, like all of us as a group, and we all went together over there. Um, and it was so much fun. Uh, it was so much fun. It was different. People were surprised because they never, because we're doing this in a place where it's not just Puerto Ricans. It's, everyone from all over the world is there. So they see this
Yeah, sure.
parranda, and they're saying, "What is this?" And they're recording, and they're like, "Wow,"
Yeah,
because we're just
you
having
are
fun
sh-
playing music. So it
you are
was
sharing your culture. Parranda
exactly,
navideña en octubre.
exactly. Well, we celebrate year round, right? So it's like it's coming up.
Sure.
We're getting ready for November, right? So
Yeah.
um so we were able to share the culture, and we like made our own, I guess, Bad Bunny concert. We had our friend who cosplayed as Bad Bunny, and we were doing the music, and we had so much fun. Um, and it was such a great experience. You know, I would say that this was like a dream come true to see our culture and our flags in the air in something as big as New York Comic Con. So I feel like that was a monumental moment of that week.
Okay, next question. Okay, let's talk about the Boricuaverse.
Mhm.
Uh, what do you believe are the origins and purpose of the Boricuaverse?
So the I think the well, I know that the origin of the Boricuaverse was in 2023, that same year. So that same year that I went to the festival, I found my friend who is now a body ranger. He was Miles Morales, and he was at the festival. So when I saw that he was at the festival, I went crazy. Said, "Oh my God, Miles Morales is at the festival!" Because Miles Morales is Puerto Rican, so it's like it's exactly the same idea that I had when I went to the festival. So I was like, "Wow, there's someone like me there." So that day I found him, and then he found someone dressed as La Borinqueña that same day. And I think that was the year that was her first or second year of doing that too. So that's three of us, right? After that, I went to Brooklyn Comic Con after the festival, and I found another friend that's like a Spider-Man there. So just that one day where we found all the Puerto Ricans and the cosplayers, that is what started Boricuaverse, because from there, then other cosplayers started making their own Puerto Rican cosplays, and I noticed that online. And from there, of course, I'm gonna do the parade the next year. So while we were planning the parade for next year, I asked a friend of mine who is in charge of the community page, PR Strong Wepa. So he had a float. I said, "Hey, for a second year, can I join you?" He said, "Sure." And I said, "Well, I have a couple of friends that are dressed up. Can they join me too?" And he was very nice enough to say yes. From there, we all got together. It was like five or six of us, and we went down the parade, and that just everyone saw it and said, "Wow, Puerto Ricans that are cosplayers, we're here." From there, that's what started the Boricuaverse. More and more people saw us. We went to more parades and festivals, and then people wanted to join us. So because there were so many of us that were cosplaying with the Boricua culture, I said, "Hey, this is a community now. We have, this is something that we can grow, and that we're here." So from there, that's when we made Boricuaverse, and from there now, it's such a great community. Everyone is so kind. We all make new friends, and we all relate on a cultural level as well as the nerd level, and it's been amazing.
Okay, all that is good to know. Now, next question: do you use professional photographers?
So I have worked with a lot of photographers. When it comes to cosplay community, there's always going to be professional photographers that photograph cosplayers. But when I started the Boricualorian, I wanted to work with Puerto Rican photographers. Not only because they're also Boricua, but they're part of the community too, and I wanted to support their work also, since we're all Puerto Rican. So right now, I mainly work with Puerto Rican photographers. I have my friend Mark and my cosplayer. We have Stephanie King and Sam, who's in Puerto Rico. So it's, you know, while being in this cosplay and going to different conventions, I meet a lot of professional Puerto Rican photographers, and I think it's amazing. But I've worked with other photographers from all over. So I love getting professional shots and representing the culture proudly and in a unique way.
Uh, do you have a lot of experience participating in individual or group photo shoots, at conventions and certain events?
So before I started this cosplay, I didn't really have experience. So once I started this cosplay and I wanted to have professional photos, it's something that I just jumped into it. Um, I have some ideas on how I want to represent some concepts, and I go to a photographer and I work with them. I did um I did do some group shoots as well. Um, but I mainly do individual shoots. I love seeing the way photographers edit and the way that they create their art with working with me because each photographer is different. They have their own style, and I love to see it. So I feel like just being a part of this community has given me so much experience in that way, as well as experiencing a lot of other things. So
Okay. What has been the public response to your cosplay? How have they received you, so to speak?
I get all different reactions, but they're mostly very, very positive. Um, I'm so grateful. They say that, I'm an inspiration. They love the cosplay. When they see me, they see how proud I am, and it makes them feel proud too. And I feel like that alone is just like the whole goal of my cosplay. You see that I'm proud Puerto Rican, and I want to represent it in a strong way and make it like a hero because I mean, this is I was raised this way. So very, very inspired. I think the popular word in Puerto Rico was espectacular. And I'm like, that, I feel like that is the highest compliment someone can give you. So I'm like, I very flattered when they say, wow, te ve espectacular. And I'm like, oh my God, muchísimas gracias. So it's that. And, there's always going to be some people that always say something negative, but I never pay attention to that because it's not worth it,
Yeah,
and
there's always gonna be an idiot saying
yeah,
something stupid.
yeah, I always say that. But another thing that's very interesting is that when I go to these different places and they see me, it's always the one of the very common questions is, ¿de dónde eres? ¿De qué parte, right? So I always say that, my parents are from Utuado. They were born and raised as jíbaros en la montaña, en el campo, and now my family is all over the island, right? Um, so it's very nice to hear other people say the different places that they're from, even if I'm in a different state, like Connecticut or Florida. They'll say, mi familia de Cataño, de Aguadilla, de Cabo Rojo, de Ponce, and it's like, wow, it makes you realize how many Puerto Ricans that were born and raised on the island from all over, have moved to the United States, and they love Comic Con and stuff like me. So I love to have that conversation with people about the culture, and then also talking about Star Wars and different things like that. What's funny is when I was in La Sanse, there were people showing me their Star Wars collection. And I feel like that's just so amazing because you never know where the nerds are, right? They could be anywhere. And the fact that we're able to find them in Puerto Rican festivals and parades, it's just, I love it. It's amazing.
Are you considering coming to next year San Sebastian
Yes,
event?
yes.
Uh,
I love it. I had so much fun. I want to do it again. So I think
yeah,
I'm going to plan a meetup for that event. So I would love to have a gathering with the cosplayers, La Sanse, and one of the tarimas, and then people can come. We all take pictures and have fun, and maybe go into the
yeah,
parade. That's the goal. So.
yeah, yeah. I usually know. I usually avoid that event. But if you are gonna have an event, please let me know so I can plan in advance and go.
Yes, I appreciate it. You every time there's something in Puerto Rico, you're always there. So thank you so much, Emilio, for always supporting. I appreciate
I've been lucky. The last time I saw you, the say can you,
it. Mm-hmm.
I almost I almost didn't go, you
Oh
know.
my. So I have a question
But
for you.
mhm.
So because I've seen you at the every Puerto Rican event so far, what do you like about Boricuaverse?
Well, what can, how could I say? It's it's quite it's quite easy. I mean, simple for me. The idea of the idea of combining the Puerto Rican flag with any cosplay has never occurred to me. I mean,
And you're a big
well,
collector,
I
right? So
yeah,
that's
I'm
to hear from you. For someone who has a lot of experience in comics and movies, what do you think about this?
I mean, let's bear in mind that I am fully aware that Captain America's original costume
Mm-hmm.
is pretty much the Puerto Rican flag.
Yes.
Nobody used to say anything. Even the editors and artists well, are pretty shy about it. They just say it's a coincidence, which is right. It is a coincidence. But
Mm-hmm.
the last thing I was expecting from there is that at this point in my life to see this trend, this kind of trend. I mean, I am aware of cosplay fusion. You know, the combination of two
Mm-hmm.
kinds of cosplay,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not just that you. I mean, it is admirable for me because it's not only you. Not only do you put the Puerto Rican flag on a cosplay, you also put your passion. All of you who do this, you put a lot of passion, a lot of pride on on your performance. I mean, it's not you just don't put on your cosplay and walk around and that's it. You make a show,
Mm-hmm.
a spectacle, a very good spectacle, something that makes me want to look forward to the next time that I see either you or any one of the other cosplays because you shine with your own light, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. And that's something that I noticed when we started. For example, I call us the founders or the starting group, which is me, the Body Ranger, the Miles Morales, the La Borinqueña. They are they really really passionate about Spider-Man or Power Ranger. They are fans since they were little of the fandom, and it's just like you said, just the pride in the character as well as the culture. And even that, just seeing it grow and seeing people be inspired and they make their own, it just the inspiration goes back and forth. And it's like art. I love seeing it. So I feel like, you know
So,
also, like, community, and also like, representation with culture is everywhere. It's just never all together at the same time. So I feel like that's the difference, with us. We're able to be together at the same time, and then you can see the full group. I love seeing cultural fusion cosplays, but I don't see them really together and like a community. So I feel like, the way that we Puerto Ricans are, we're always united. We always love our community. It's just something that kind of just happened naturally.
Final question.
Mhm.
Do you feel like your life has changed? That you have changed since you started cosplaying?
Yes, my life has changed completely. I did not think that I would be where I am today. Every year I get surprised on what happens too. I mean, it just when I first go to the festival, I didn't think much of it. I said this is something that is a lot of fun for me. I love being a superhero and I love my culture and I want to represent it at the festival. Whatever happens happens, right? Then from there, I just everyone online knows me and I was just so surprised. Um and then from there, I feel like it's like a calling. Like, you're doing this. A lot of people are inspired, they love it, and it's like something that it like I the more I think about it, I think like, you know, we don't have this. Yes, we love comics, we love movies and stuff, but you don't really see us really present in these spaces. And because of what I've started online, I felt like we should be more present in these spaces. And from there, just the past, 2023, 2025, in 2 years, I've traveled to so many conventions, met so many people, amazing people, creative and happy. It's just, and I've learned so much about myself and so many other things to just grow. And it has changed my life completely. And, and I feel like this is just what is supposed to happen. Like everything just happens on its own, and it's like, wow,
Okay.
amazing.
Well, Floris, I wish to thank you for giving of your time to for
Mhm.
this interview. Where can we find you on social media?
So my social media name is Floris Lilium, and it's funny because that name, Floris Lilium, it means lily flower because my name is Lily. So that's why I use Floris Lilium. So you can find me, Floris Lilium, or you can Google the Puerto Rican Mandalorian, either one, or Boricuaverse. I'll be on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Reddit, so you can find me anywhere with that.
Very well. And with this, we finish this interview. Thank you very much, Floris,
Thank
and
you.
hope to see you again.
Thank you, of course.